Mira Hollow was 27 years old when she believed she had finally found the peaceful life she had spent years searching for, and every smile at the elegant anniversary celebration made her think that the painful chapters of her past had finally been left behind. Crystal chandeliers filled the grand ballroom with warm golden light while soft music floated through the air, and surrounded by hundreds of well-dressed guests, she quietly hoped that this unforgettable evening would mark the beginning of a happier future. As she admired the beautifully decorated hall, Mira noticed her husband Ethan laughing confidently with influential business partners while his parents welcomed guests with surprising warmth that she had never experienced before. Their kindness seemed genuine enough to lower her guard, and for the first time since their marriage, she allowed herself to believe that acceptance had finally replaced resentment inside the family that had always treated her like an unwanted stranger. 2 years earlier, Mira had joined a respected architecture firm where long hours and demanding projects filled every day, and during her first week she met Ethan, an ambitious project manager whose confidence naturally attracted everyone around him. Their friendship slowly grew through shared lunches, late evening meetings, and countless conversations about dreams and ambitions until they discovered that being together made even the busiest days feel lighter and far more meaningful. One quiet evening after work, Ethan gently asked about her family while they watched the city lights sparkle across the river, and after a long silence she quietly replied that she had no relatives left and had built her entire life alone through determination and hard work. The answer was not completely truthful because she desperately wanted someone to love her for the person she truly was instead of the powerful family name she had hidden for most of her adult life. Ethan embraced her with sincere compassion after hearing her story, promising that she would never have to face life alone again, and his kindness convinced Mira that honesty about her identity could wait until the foundation of their relationship became unshakable. When he later asked her to marry him beneath a sky filled with glowing stars, she accepted with complete confidence, believing that genuine love would always be stronger than wealth, influence, or social status. Their wedding was elegant but emotionally distant because Ethan's family attended with forced smiles that barely concealed their disappointment, and although every photograph captured perfect expressions, Mira could already sense the invisible walls separating her from the people who were now supposed to become her family. During the following months, those silent barriers slowly transformed into sharp remarks and cruel comparisons that reminded her almost every day that she would never meet the impossible standards they had created inside their minds. Ethan's mother often disguised her insults as friendly advice by suggesting that Mira should be grateful anyone from such a respected family had accepted someone with no known relatives, and his father openly claimed that his son had sacrificed an extraordinary future by marrying an ordinary woman with no influence or social connections. Mira endured every painful conversation with quiet dignity because she believed patience would eventually soften even the hardest hearts, yet every act of kindness she offered was answered with even colder rejection. As time passed, Ethan gradually stopped defending her whenever his parents humiliated her during family gatherings, and instead of challenging their unfair opinions, he laughed politely or changed the subject as though the insults carried no real weight. Every moment of silence from the man she loved hurt more deeply than the harshest words spoken by anyone else because she realized that loneliness felt even heavier when surrounded by people who claimed to care about her. Several weeks before their first wedding anniversary, the atmosphere inside the household changed so dramatically that Mira found herself wondering if a miracle had finally happened, because suddenly everyone smiled at her, invited her into conversations, and treated her with unexpected warmth that seemed almost unbelievable. Ethan even surprised her with thoughtful compliments and promised that the anniversary celebration would become a beautiful memory where the entire family could finally leave old misunderstandings behind and begin again with genuine respect. Despite the encouraging signs, a quiet feeling of uncertainty refused to disappear from Mira's heart as the evening of the celebration finally arrived, and every perfect detail inside the magnificent ballroom somehow felt too carefully arranged to be completely sincere. She took a slow breath while watching hundreds of elegantly dressed guests enjoy the luxurious event, never realizing that hidden beneath the polished smiles and graceful conversations was a carefully prepared plan that would soon test her strength more than anything she had ever faced before. The evening continued with cheerful music, elegant speeches, and endless applause, until Ethan's father slowly walked toward the center of the ballroom with a crystal glass raised high above his shoulder, instantly drawing the attention of every guest inside the magnificent hall. A confident smile spread across his face as he thanked everyone for attending before announcing that he wished to reveal something that would supposedly make the anniversary even more unforgettable. Mira watched quietly while an uncomfortable feeling settled deep inside Her heart because the expression on his face carried none of the kindness he had shown throughout the evening, and every passing second made the atmosphere feel heavier than before. When he finally turned toward her with a cold stare, his voice echoed across the silent ballroom as he declared that his greatest disappointment had been allowing his only son to marry someone who brought absolutely nothing into their respected family. A wave of shocked whispers spread through the audience while several guests exchanged uncomfortable glances, yet Ethan's father continued without showing the slightest trace of compassion as he mocked Mira's background, questioned her worth, and described her as a burden who had ruined his son's promising future. Every cruel sentence felt sharper than the one before, but the deepest wound came from watching Ethan remain completely silent with his eyes fixed on the floor, instead of standing beside the woman he had once promised to protect forever. After enduring years of humiliation, Mira finally stepped forward with quiet confidence and calmly asked him to stop insulting her in front of hundreds of innocent people because every human being deserved basic respect regardless of wealth or family status. Before anyone could react, Ethan suddenly moved between them and struck her across the face with enough force to leave the entire ballroom frozen in stunned silence while the sound echoed through every corner of the luxurious hall. The painful sting across her cheek was nothing compared to the heartbreak filling her soul as scattered laughter and whispered comments slowly spread among the guests, turning the carefully planned anniversary into a public spectacle designed to destroy her dignity forever. Instead of crying or begging for sympathy, Mira gently wiped away a single tear, reached into her handbag with perfectly steady hands, and placed one calm phone call before quietly saying only a few simple words that would soon change every life inside that ballroom. The person on the other end answered almost immediately, and Mira spoke with remarkable calm despite the painful silence surrounding her as she simply said that she needed him to come because everything had finally become clear. After listening for only a few seconds, the familiar voice assured her that he was already on his way, leaving her with a quiet confidence that confused everyone who expected her to collapse under the weight of humiliation. Ethan's father laughed loudly after noticing that she had ended the call so quickly, proudly asking the guests whether anyone truly believed that an ordinary woman with no family could suddenly find someone important enough to change the situation before them. Several people joined his laughter while others looked away in embarrassment, but Mira remained perfectly still without arguing because she knew that truth never needed to compete with arrogance or empty pride. Nearly 20 minutes passed before the grand entrance doors slowly opened, and the arrival of several security professionals followed by a distinguished older gentleman instantly transformed the atmosphere inside the ballroom from noisy celebration into complete silence. Every confident step he took carried quiet authority as his eyes searched the room, until they finally rested on Mira, and without acknowledging anyone else he walked directly toward her before gently placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. The respected visitor carefully examined the red mark on Mira's face, and the warmth in his expression disappeared as controlled anger replaced every trace of kindness. While he calmly asked who had dared to hurt his daughter, the single word daughter echoed through the ballroom like thunder, leaving countless guests frozen in disbelief as Ethan slowly stepped backward after recognizing the man as the founder and chairman of the international company where he had built his entire career. Fear replaced confidence across the faces of Ethan and his parents as the distinguished businessman revealed that Mira had hidden her family identity because she wanted to be loved for her character instead of her wealth, and he explained that every opportunity Ethan had ever received inside the company had existed only because of his daughter's quiet recommendation. The room remained completely silent while the shocking truth settled over everyone, and for the first time that evening the people who had laughed at Mira realized that they had cruelly humiliated the very person who had secretly held the greatest influence among them all. Ethan hurried toward Mira with tears filling his eyes as he desperately tried to explain that he had never understood the truth and begged for one final opportunity to repair the damage he had caused, but every apology sounded painfully empty after months of silence and the public humiliation he had chosen over protecting his own wife. His parents also attempted to excuse their behavior by claiming they had been misled by appearances, yet their trembling voices could not erase the countless cruel words they had spoken when they believed Mira had no one to defend her. Mira looked at each of them with calm eyes that no longer carried anger or sadness, because the heartbreak she had endured had already transformed into strength and complete clarity about the future she deserved. She quietly explained that real character is revealed when kindness is shown to people who seem powerless, and that respect based only on wealth or influence is nothing more than empty performance without genuine humanity. Her father stepped beside her and announced that Ethan's employment with the company would end immediately because leadership required integrity as much as professional skill, and he made it clear that no position or achievement could excuse cruelty toward another human being. Mira thanked him for standing beside her but gently added that the greatest victory was not revenge because true freedom came from walking away from people who repeatedly chose pride instead of compassion. Without another argument, Mira picked up her handbag and walked toward the exit. With steady confidence while every guest silently watched the woman they had underestimated leave with her dignity completely restored. The ballroom remained frozen in overwhelming regret because everyone understood that they had witnessed the irreversible loss of someone whose loyalty, patience, and kindness had been priceless from the very beginning, yet appreciated only after it was far too late. As Mira stepped into the cool night air, she smiled with quiet confidence because she finally understood that her true worth had never depended on another person's approval, and the difficult journey that had once filled her with pain had become the beginning of a stronger and brighter future built on self-respect and courage. Please subscribe to our channel and share this video with your friends and family. We create entertaining and inspiring stories for our viewers, and your support helps us continue making great content for you.